Live, this is News 12. News first at 5 on your side.
Good evening. I am Christy Etheridge. And I'm Laura Warren. Thurmond Dam is now open and releasing water. The Corps of Engineers opened those gates at about 4 this morning. News 12 has been on your side all day monitoring flood conditions throughout our area. And officials hope opening these gates will help contain some of the flooding, but it's definitely not out of the question yet. People aren't letting this rain stop them from taking in the spectacle of all of that gushing water, though. Our reporter Alma McCarty is live at Thurmond Dam, where the floodgates have opened up, quite literally.
I am live on top of the Lake Thurmond Dam. To my right, or you're right at home, this is Lake Thurmond, and the Army Corps of Engineers tells me that at 335 feet, they have to start letting water through the floodgates. Today, the levels are 335.5, so 0.5 over what they need to be. And as you can see right over here, water is quickly rushing out of the dam by the millions of gallons. Around 4 this morning, the floodgates were opened. Since the rain began, engineers realized the need to release more water, but they usually put it through the generators to create energy. Today, the water levels at Lake Thurmond are too high, and the water needed to come out the 23 spillway gates.
This is amazing. I love it. It is beautiful. It feels so crisp with the water blowing out.
Melinda Holloway had the same idea as many others, to come see the water bursting out and moving downstream. A New Year's Eve spectacle that could rival many others.
Certainly does. I'd rather be here than in New York City.
For people living downstream, the Army Corps of Engineers says the impact will not be all that significant. People living in floodplains are aware and understand water rising higher than usual happens. So the Army Corps of Engineers says they've been increasing the flows from Lake Thurmond since the day after Christmas, but a lot of that, again, they released to power the generator, so you didn't see it exactly going through all of the floodgates. But after the lake reached those levels again that are just too high without going over the road, that is when they decided to finally open the spillway and have the water go towards the Savannah River. Coming up on News 12 at 6 o'clock, how long this could last. Live on the Thurmond Dam, Alma McCarty, News 12.
All right, thank you, Alma.
Thank you, Alma. And it does look like areas between McCormick County to our north and in our neighborhood here at Augusta into Richmond County and also Columbia County. Any flooding we see over the next few days will be in the minor category. You've got minor, moderate, then major. So it'll be on the low end. But if you usually experience some flooding, when you get the minor flooding concerns, you know who you are. And we're talking about these two areas right here. There are a couple of river flood warnings going on affecting the Savannah River and also Stevens Creek for the next couple of days. Take a look at the river flood warning for the Savannah River and Stevens Creek through this weekend. Minor, perhaps isolated moderate flooding in some of those areas is expected to continue through the weekend. Areas to our south, we'll look at that later, could be looking at flooding quite a bit longer than that. As far as current radar, we do have showers out there, some moderate rain, a couple of heavy downpours too. It's mainly going to stay south of Augusta and Aiken or right on the edge of us for the rest of the day and the rest of the night, really. The farther north you go from Augusta, the less of a chance of rain for the rest of tonight. There's a frontal boundary which is making it through the region, and finally some dry air is going to be rolling in here. Flood watch is in effect. Here's Augusta here. We are not officially in the flood watch, but the flood watch is in effect until noon tomorrow for those areas. For you New Year's Eve revelers, let's take a look at those numbers. Temperatures falling to the 50s this evening with some scattered showers. Happy New Year.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Meanwhile, downstream from the dam, Augusta is bracing for the effects from all of the water coming down from Thurmond Dam. And as you can see, that was a lot of water. Augusta leaders say there could be significant flooding on Augusta's riverfront. That's where we find News 12's Cody O'Hara. He's at the Augusta Riverwalk Marina where he's watching the water rise. Cody.
Christy and Laura, this water is certainly continuing to rise down here at the marina and near downtown Augusta. Now, it's also rushing very fast now. The biggest concern for this area is the marina and the Riverwalk. Some people are taking this pretty lightly, but others are concerned. They have seen this before. Augusta's Riverwalk and boat docks are closed as the waters continue to creep up. But Ken Kerr, who's lived here in what he named the doghouse for 14 years, says he's not going anywhere for now.
The safest place to be in a flood is on a boat. I probably have 80 cans of soup.
But if the water gets too high, he is ready to get out with his pets.
3 dogs, 2 cockatiels, and a conure parrot.
Kerr says people in the past have dealt with the flooded marina another way.
They'll tie a small boat up and they'll put a rope across and they'll pull themselves across like they did in the old days.
Augusta Disaster Preparedness Coordinator Mia Lucas is hoping people stay alert and watch the river.
There's potential that they'll be releasing their 30,000 cubic feet per second for the next week. And so we'll see effects probably for at least the next 2 weeks.
That's equal to about 678 swimming pools a minute being released from Thurmond Dam.
They may have to cut their boat loose if the water gets really high because it'll cause tension and it could capsize their boat.
Kerr isn't worried yet. He has confidence in the Army Corps of Engineers and hopes he isn't having to seek higher ground in the new year.
We're fine. The water's going to come up, the boat's going to go up, the dock's going to go up, everything's going to work out fine.
Now, Cody, the EMA, it sounds like they're not taking this one lightly. They've closed the Riverwalk. They didn't even do that back in October when we were expecting all of that flooding. How are they going to be watching this as it kind of creeps along?
Well, the EMA is planning to send out crews every 3 hours to prepare for a possible flooding event, a significant flooding event at that, and they will be monitoring those river levels. Now, on a lighter note, down here at the marina, they're still going forward with their New Year's Eve party tonight, and they plan on having a DJ here starting at 9 o'clock.
All right, so come you know what or high water, I guess. I guess they're going on with the party, Cody. Thanks for that.
The party goes on. Families living along the Ogeechee River are holding their breath as they watch the rain come down. Several river homes are only accessible by boat, and the people living there worry more rain could cause more problems. News 12's Liz Owens is live from the river. Liz, how's it looking out where you are?
Well, Christy, it is raining. It's been raining all day, and it has not stopped raining. And that is the big concern here. Take a look at the river behind me. It is already very high. It has spilled out onto this boat ramp. There is no boat ramp. And if you take a look at the bridge, you can see how close the river is crawling up to that bridge. Earlier today, my photographer and I got on a boat so we could take a look at some cabins near the river. And we talked to several families there. They tell us the river rose so quickly and without warning, they did not have time to evacuate. Several other families tell us that even if the river does continue to grow, that they're not really concerned about it.
I got a boat, I got a 4-wheel drive. You know what they say about us country boys. And if we're on the river, we can do what we want to do, you know, legally, of course.
Now, the river has actually gone down from a couple days ago. This rock you're looking at is what residents say. That's where they say the river was a couple days ago. It's gone down. However, the fire chiefs have been out here, deputies have been out here because they're looking at this rain and they're worried the river could increase even more, and they're worried about this bridge. They're talking to the Corps of Engineers to see what may happen if this river continues to rise. We, of course, will be on top of it and we'll keep you updated as well. And coming up at 6, it's a story you don't want to miss. I follow some hospice nurses around who are taking boats to see their patients. For now, we're live in Burke County. Liz Owens, News 12.
All right, thanks for that, Liz. Flooding has also caused several roads in our area to close down, and that list keeps growing. Some roads in Wilkes County have been added today, and 2 roads in Jefferson County added this morning. You can find that full list, which you can see from our website, is getting pretty lengthy there. It's on WRDW.com.
A little farther from home, deadly floods are hitting hard in the Midwest, killing at least 20 people in Missouri and Illinois. Hundreds of families have been forced out of their homes while traffic has been at a standstill with major highways shut down. Rivers are rising to record levels, washing away homes, drowning bridges, and forcing daring rescues. Officials in Arnold, Missouri say flooding has destroyed up to 150 homes, if not more.
We're on your side with what you should do if your home and car are affected by flooding. Although homeowners insurance will not cover flood damage, it will cover pipes that may burst during the storm or maybe a tree that falls onto your home. You want to let them know right away if you have any damage. You also want to make sure to contain that damage. Say if there's wet carpet, remove it. If there's a hole in your roof, cover it. When it comes to your car, call your insurance provider, but remember, comprehensive is the only kind of insurance that will cover flooding in your vehicle. You want to remove that water as soon as possible and dry it out very quickly.
The Lincoln County coroner says a man went into cardiac arrest before crashing into a pond. 87-year-old Thomas Dawkins died during the crash on Elberton Highway. The coroner's office says his death was from an existing heart disease. Investigators say Dawkins was the only person in the car when the crash happened around 12:30 yesterday afternoon.
From Crime Team 12, the woman accused of leaving her godchild in a hot car to die did not show up for a court hearing today. 31-year-old Latoya Louise Bell was indicted for murder 2 weeks ago. After not showing up in court, though, a judge issued a bench warrant for her arrest. She'll also be forced to forfeit her original bond now. Bell is accused of drunkenly leaving an 8-month-old in a hot car. Police say Medal of Honor recipient Kyle Carpenter is under arrest for an alleged hit and run. According to the CBS affiliate in Columbia, Carpenter was charged today after an incident on the University of South Carolina campus December 8th. This is video of Carpenter when he came to Fort Gordon back this summer. Police say he hit a man crossing the street. He pulled over but didn't get out of his car. They say he left the scene without exchanging any information after the man stood up and walked to the sidewalk. Police say that man is expected to be fined.
Attorneys for Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston are denying claims the church hasn't been honest about donation information. The church, where 9 people were shot and killed in what police call a racially motivated attack, are facing a lawsuit seeking an account of the $3.4 million given to the church after the June 17th shooting. Arthur Hurd's wife, Cynthia, was killed in that shooting. He sued, saying he asked the church for information and got nothing. It'll soon be required for most South Carolina doctors to consult a database of medical history as a way to combat the state's prescription drug problem. Doctors billing either Medicaid or the state's health plan for public workers will use the database. The system has been voluntary since 2008, but the policy is required starting April 1st. Over 191 million Americans could be impacted by a recent data breach. We'll tell you what hackers stole and how it happened.
And over the last 5 or 6 days, a lot of rain has fallen across the two-state. I'll let you know how much more rain we're expecting tonight and tomorrow coming up.
And AT&T is becoming the last major cell phone carrier to ditch your 2-year contract. How that could affect you coming up on News 12.
News 12 on your side, hour-by-hour forecast.
Well, many areas have seen 3, 4, 5, 6, even 7 inches of rain over the last 5 or 6 days. Take a look at some of these numbers. Here's Augusta right here. Between Augusta, Aiken, Newberry, and down to Waynesboro, anywhere from 2 to 5 inches has been seen. Less, much less to the southeast. But to the northwest, the bullseye over the last week has been Athens to areas around Wilkes County, anywhere from 6 to 7, even localized 9-inch amounts. Now, how much more rain we're expecting? Well, this is some good news here. Now, there is some rain expected over the next, say, 12 to 18 hours, mainly in the southern half of the News 12 viewing area. As you head up into Wilkes County and areas around McCormick County, Lincoln County, really the rain is pretty much done. Just a couple of sprinkles, so that's good news. But as you head south of Augusta, still perhaps another inch of rain in some spots. And the farther south you go, the better chance for that to occur over the next 12 to 18 hours. And that's where the rain is right now. And the frontal boundary is stretching through the region as we speak. So as it continues to press to the east, it'll bring the rain with it, but it's a slow process. So where the rain is falling right now is pretty much where it's expected to continue to rain through the night. So if you're getting rain right now, you'll most likely get it through your New Year's Eve celebrations and into tomorrow morning as well. Numerous river flood warnings across Georgia, Carolina. We talked about the ones to our north a little bit earlier. Those are going to be in effect through the weekend at least, with minor to perhaps some low-end moderate flooding expected in those regions for the next several days. Down south, we've got the Savannah River down south of Augusta and also the Ogeechee River. We just talked about that a minute ago near Midville. Minor to moderate flooding also expected there, but it's expected to continue a little bit longer, possibly through next week. And you've already been dealing with that for many days in some of those areas. So that's going to continue for you. The flood watch that's in effect for the western parts of the News 12 viewing area, from Washington down to Louisville and westward, that's in effect until noon Friday, because recent rain that's going on now and tonight still could cause some of those smaller rivers and streams to overflow so we'll have to watch those as well. Futurecast shows by 7:30 tomorrow morning there'll be some showers out there. The best chance will be from Augusta and to the south, so call it a day with some morning showers and wake-up temperatures in the 50s for most of us. And then as we stretch into Friday afternoon, you see these temperatures will be rather uniform, highs in the 50s to near 60 degrees as the rain presses off to the southeast Friday afternoon. As we head into Saturday morning, we're going to have wake-up temperatures anywhere from the upper 30s to lower 40s. So, yeah, back to normal, you could say. It'll be less humid on Saturday, and the weekend starts off with mostly sunny skies and temperatures rounding out in the mid to upper 50s for high temps. So that crisp and cool air is headed this way as we head toward the weekend. As far as the rest of tonight, anything but crisp and cool. It'll be cooler than it's been, but it'll be humid with showers and fog, especially from Augusta southward, with a northwest breeze bringing in some cooler air. So some showers and a little bit of fog tomorrow morning on your first day of the new year. Sun comes up at 7:30. There'll be cloudy skies at that point. And as the day progresses, we might even see a few peaks of sun tomorrow afternoon. It'll be cooler, though, with a high temperature of 60, which is normal for the first day of January. And look at your next 3 days. Disruptive weather in the yellow for tomorrow for that chance of a morning shower and a little bit of fog. And the weekend will be the way the weekend should feel for the first weekend of January. Looking good, highs in the 50s, kind of chilly lows. And looking ahead through the week, not much rain in the forecast. Good news.
A luxury high-rise hotel in downtown Dubai breaks out in flames. The fire shooting high into the sky next to fireworks for the New Year's Eve celebration. Officials say the fire started on the 20th floor from outside the building of the Address Hotel.
That cause is still under investigation, but officials say the fire didn't spread inside the hotel because of fire extinguishers inside. The hotel was evacuated, but officials say there still could be victims.
A voter information data breach has put nearly everyone registered to vote in the U.S. at risk. Mark Albert explains why an investigation is underway to find out how it happened.
Just over 4 weeks away from Iowa's first in the nation caucuses, security researchers have discovered a massive data file containing personal information on 191 million voters left unsecured online. The database includes voters' names, addresses, phone numbers, birth dates, political affiliations, and voting history since the year 2000, according to CSO Online, which discovered the breach.
I think it's a big impact for voters across the country.
David Gordon is a New York-based director at LightCyber, a data security firm. If I'm a registered voter, am I at risk?
Yes, you are at risk in terms of disclosing information. I don't think proper security protocols are in place, and I think really everybody has a role in it.
Voter information is public, but many states restrict how the information can be used and by whom. So David, what should voters do now?
Really, the only recourse voters would have is to lobby their representatives to secure the network in a way that's proper.
The U.S. Federal Elections Commission tells CBS News it does not have the access or authority to protect voter records. That's left to the states. California has already launched an investigation. Mark Albert, CBS News, Washington.
It's not clear who built the database, but typically voter information has to be obtained from each state. That's why the existence of a publicly available central database could be so appealing to thieves. But it looks like the database was no longer accessible online.
Bill Cosby's lawyers claim the comedian will be cleared of sexual assault charges. Cosby remains free on bail after his arrest and arraignment yesterday. The 78-year-old is accused of drugging and sexually assaulting former Temple University employee Andrea Constant in 2004. According to the 23-page complaint, Cosby gave Constant pills he claimed were herbal, but half an hour later, she says she experienced blurred vision and difficulty speaking. Cosby's next court date is January 14th.
Apple is hit with a lawsuit for one of its phone updates after people say it only created more problems.
And a fashion statement could make sunburn a thing of the past. We'll show you the bracelet that can tell you when to get out of the sun.
AT&T is ditching its 2-year contract agreements. It will stop offering 2-year contracts on January 7th. The next day, customers will only be able to buy new phones through 2 options. paying the full price up front or paying in installments over time under its AT&T Next plan. AT&T was the last major cell phone carrier to get rid of the 2-year contracts.
Apple hit with a class action lawsuit over its latest software upgrade. According to the lawsuit, Apple's iOS 9 software update made iPhone 4S phones slow, buggy, and subject to crashes. If you have one, you may know what we're talking about. Apple promoted iOS 9 as being compatible with the iPhone 4S, saying it would make the phones faster and more responsive. The suit is seeking $5 million in damages.
People started lining up early this morning to get a spot in New York City's Times Square to bring in the new year. We're going to take you and give you a live look right now in Times Square, where more than 1 million people are expected to party tonight. Officials say there's no specific or credible threat, but close to 6,000 officers will be in Times Square just in case, some in uniform, some undercover. Snipers also will be on rooftops, garbage cans removed, manhole covers sealed shut, and radiation detectors deployed.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, so I figured I'd get it out of the way while I'm still young.
Spectators will be searched, then once they're in place, they have to stay in those pens. Also, no large bags or backpacks will be allowed.
A new bracelet might make sunburn a thing of the past. The bracelet is called June, and it measures your sun exposure with UV sensors hidden in that jewel. Its battery can last a month and connects to an app that lets you know when you should put on sunscreen or get in the shade. Of course, it only works if you listen to it. So I feel like that's half
true.
the battle.
That is true. But I think I'd be willing to wear it and try it out. It's
pretty,
pretty,
cool
pretty
idea.
trendy looking, and you know, you gotta save your skin.
Jewelry apps are not so cute, but that one's not too bad.
That one I think I'd wear it.
Well, usually people consider using your cell phone in a restaurant kind of rude.
But for one diner in China, you'll need a smartphone just to get service. Continuing coverage of heavy rain and flood concerns on News 12 at 6 o'clock. This is the second flood event we've seen within the last 3 months. 12 on your side talks to Richmond County Emergency Management about how they're applying what they learned in October.
And we head back down to Burke County. News 12's Liz Owens shows us how medical workers are not letting floodwater stop them from getting to patients and making sure they get the care they need. It's all ahead right here new at 6 o'clock on News 12.
Well, guys, the good news is that most of the rain is over with. We'll have another look at radar to show you that it's not completely done yet. Areas from Augusta to Macon up to Columbia, South Carolina, and southward still could see a quarter to a half inch, isolated 1 inch amounts between now and tomorrow morning. Otherwise, if you're heading out this evening in the Augusta area, here's what you can look at for temps: 60s, eventually 50s. So, yeah, these numbers are warmer than normal. I mean, we're not going to be grabbing those sweaters and drinking that hot chocolate, I don't think, with a night like this. Mild and muggy out there with some scattered showers, too. We hit the midnight hour right around 56 degrees.
So probably do need to bring an umbrella still if you're heading out for New Year's celebrations.
Keep the rain gear handy tonight.
Okay, good to know. Some diners complain that smartphones are ruining conversations at restaurants, but one eatery in Beijing actually requires them to get a table.
Get this, there's no hosts, no waiters, no cashiers. Customers just use their smartphones to place their order. The only staff they have in the entire restaurant is in the kitchen, and it's kind of hard to automate that part. So I guess I guess that makes sense.
An app can only do so much.
Yeah, but you see they slide you your food right from the kitchen, so there is literally no one working in there except
sounds like a teenager's
dream.
Staff.
Yeah,
just go in there.
Little to no human interaction. We'll see you at 6 o'clock.
Why would we want that? We don't want to talk to people.
We want to talk.